Hi, this is Louisa at the Pilates workshop with another homework video for my clients this week with a few bits that we've covered in some of our Zoom classes for those that weren't able to join live online this week. So I hope you find it helpful, and please work at your own level, and if you come to classes, stick with the variations that you know well for your body, and I'll mention a few of those here as well. So we're going to start seated in a moment. If you have a resistance band, that would be handy. Otherwise, a stretchy scarf or a pair of tights would be fine as a really good alternative. And if you have any light weights, you could grab those, or you maybe just a tin can of food or a water bottle or something like that would do as well, as we do some lying triceps work. So I hope you enjoy the session, and let's get started. So we're going to start seated. So you can perch at home, sitting on the edge of a chair, or if it's comfortable on the floor, you could sit cross-legged or long frog, however suits you. But just wherever you place yourself, just make sure you find those sit bones and just make sure they're grounded to the surface that you're sitting on. So if you need to wiggle around and shimmy around a little bit to find that, please do. Your hands can just rest lightly on your knees or on your thighs, and just try to find as much length through your spine as you can. So we're not sinking down, we're just trying to lengthen up, and ideally making sure that we're not leaning forward, leaning back or side to side. We're just completely stacked up and lengthened, letting the shoulders release and that neck lengthen. And to begin with, we're just going to think about our breathing. So taking that wide breath in through your nose and that long breath out through your mouth. If you want to close your eyes as you take these few breaths, please feel free. So that wide breath in through your nose and long breath out through your mouth. So about 5 more of those in your own time. If you wanted hands on the side of the rib cage, you're welcome to. Otherwise, just staying with the hands on the legs, trying to lengthen the spine, and just use these few breaths as a chance to check inwards and just notice how you're feeling today and where you might want to give some attention as we go through the rest of the class. So when you've done around 5 of those breaths at least, we're then going to just bring fingertips to the top of your shoulders and begin to circle the shoulders. So we'll start that circle with the bent arm as you inhale as the elbows raise up, and then exhale as they release back down. So we'll inhale, raise up, and exhale, release back down. So for most things, I'm going to aim to do maybe about 5 repetitions or so with you. Obviously, if you've got more time, you can pause me and do a few extra of anything that you might need a little bit more time on. Okay, so once we've done around 5, we're going to then just begin to add thoracic rotation. So we'll keep the right hand on the right shoulder, left hand can rest on the leg or the knee, and as you inhale, you'll just let the elbow glide up, and then exhale, let the ribs, neck, head and arm begin to spiral around as you come round again. So inhale up, exhale, rotate, inhale to come back again. We're just beginning to open up and unravel that upper back. I'm going to just do 1 or 2 more here. And then when you've done around 5, swapping over, so left hand to left shoulder, and inhale as you begin that circle, and exhale, ribs, head, neck, arm as you glide around. So inhale up, exhale, just beginning to open up. Keep as much length as you can through the spine. You're not forcing, we're just beginning to ease and mobilize. Let's do 1 more of those. And then once you've evened up with your circles there, if it's comfortable for you, we're going to bring the hands behind the head. So I've got the thumbs at the base of my hairline, elbows, shoulders soft, so the elbows are slightly forward of my shoulder level, and I'm really using the hands to try and lengthen the neck and lightly pressing head into hands, hands into head. So from here, I'm going to inhale, shrug up the shoulders, and then exhale, just soften and let the shoulders release back down, keeping that length through the neck. So shrug as you inhale, exhale, almost a little sigh of relief as they soften down, still keeping length through your spine. And if it's comfortable for you, you can keep the arms in this position for the side reach we're going to do. Otherwise, you can release the arms down, and I'll remind you of that version in a moment. So once you've finished, elbows, shoulders soft, breath in to stay and lengthen as tall as you can. And then as you breathe out, eyes, head, neck, ribs, as you go over to one side, breath when you arrive. And then as you breathe out, we're lengthening and stacking back up. So grow tall, breath where you're there, and as you breathe out, eyes, head, neck, ribs, and then breath in to glide back up again. So as you're doing these, just double check those shoulders when you return back to the midline, and breathe when you're in that side reach. Keeping both sit bones planted down. I'm going to do one more of this variation with you. So stay with this one for a couple more if that's comfortable. Otherwise, your alternative is to bring the arms down, fingertips just reaching out to the side, and then inhale, you glide one arm up so the arm and palm turns in, and then exhale up and over, fingertips crawl away to keep that underneath shoulders soft, breath into that open side, and then as you breathe out, we'll unravel and stacking back up. So inhale, glide up. Exhale up and over, fingertips gliding away, breath into there, and then stacking back up again. I'm going to do one more of those with you each side. Inhale up, exhale over, breath into there, and then gliding back up again. Inhale up, exhale over, breath into there, and gliding back up again. And then do feel free to shake out the shoulders, shake out the legs, wiggle in the hips if you need to. And then we're going to come into our relaxation position. So you may need some pillows and cushions, and as I mentioned, possibly a band and maybe a weight as well. So I'm going to just grab those for me. So I'm going to just have one weight there and my band nearby. Otherwise, we're going to be in our relaxation position. So from your side, coming onto your back, keeping the knees bent. You're just going to double check that the pelvis is in neutral, hips level with each other, your belly button and your pubic bone, legs parallel in line with the hip bones, so hips, knees, ankles and feet are all parallel, softening down there, let the ribs release, shoulders open, neck lengthen. If you wanted to do a few little chin tucks as while you settle down there, or a few pelvic tilts, feel free. And then once you settle down, we'll do a few shoulder drops. So we'll let the arms glide up in line with the shoulders, arms and palms facing inwards. You can either do one at a time as you inhale, reach up, exhale, release, inhale, reach, exhale, release, or you can do both as you inhale, reach up, and exhale, release. So just beginning to get the shoulder blades moving around the rib cage, and as you release them down, just try to let them soften away from your ears. So more of a reach and a melt. I'm going to just do one more of those. That's it, and then we release down. If you have a band or a stretchy scarf or tights or something, we're going to grab that now. If you don't, you can just do the movement without any problem at all. We're just going to do ribcage closure. Because my band is really long, I've just doubled it up. So I'm still going to have the arms in shoulder drop position, but with the arms and palms facing away from me. Either fingers long or loose fist, whichever is comfortable for you. Open across the chest and the collarbones, and we'll need to connect to your centre more now. So as you breathe out, we're going to start to let the tummy scoop a little more to keep your spine stable. So from there, I'm going to keep that sense of length and reach and just let the band lightly touch my thighs. So taking my breath in, as you breathe out centre, we're gliding back to ribcage closure position. So only as far as you keep the ribs heavy. Try to avoid the shoulders creeping up. So breath in to stay, and then as you breathe out, we're coming back again. So breath in, breathe out centre, and float the arms back, in to stay, and then exhale to glide it back again. And we're going to add a leg slide here. So as you breathe out centre, and ribcage closure, both arms, and sliding one leg away. Inhale, pause, flex the foot, and then exhale, slide the leg and the arms back again. So breath and centre, ribcage closure and leg slide. Inhale, pause, flex the foot. Exhale, legs, leg and arm comes back again. Let's do one more single one each side. So just making sure you're beginning to get that connection so that your ribs stay heavy and your spine doesn't arch as the leg extends away. So stay with the single leg if you need to. Another variation is that you slide both legs away, but we need to make sure you've turned up that dimmer switch of your centre if you're doing that one. So as you breathe out centre, both legs, both arms slide away. Inhale, flex the foot, leave the arms, and then exhale, gliding back again. So breath and centre sliding, inhale, flex, and then exhale, return. So as we've got the band, if you have it, we're going to do a little bit of hip mobility, which is familiar to most of you, I'm sure. If you haven't got the band, you can still do the same movement or use the hands around the thighs to assist you. So we bring one leg into single knee fold, knee over the hip, let that shin dangle, elbows on the floor, good alignment through the wrist. So if you hold the band coming from little finger side of your hand out by your thumb, so much easier just to keep the wrists in good alignment. Other leg could slide away if that's comfortable, otherwise keep it bent. So I'm going to just do about 3 each way. So breathing, centering, just stirring that thigh in the hip socket. You could do maybe between 6 to 8 in each direction if you wanted to. So when you've done around 3 each way, leg back to the centre, raise your shin so you can see your foot, toes as soft as you can, and I'm just going to do around 3 point and flex. Keep the rest of the leg really still, and about 3 circles of the ankle in each direction. And then once you've done those, I'm going to slide the other leg back in, and then just go into my hamstring stretch from here. So I'm lengthening that leg away. Keep the tailbone heavy. Just take a few breaths in there to let the leg lengthen and release. If you flex the foot a little more, you'll get a calf stretch while you're there. And then from here, we're going to do your lower hand lift. So keeping the pelvis square and certainly more control through your centre. And your range will be determined on how much you can centre with the leg going further away from you. So don't worry if it's not too far. So breath first. As you breathe out and centre, you're going to slide the leg away from you. So the band should be supporting you. Without the band, please keep it much smaller. Inhale to stay, keep your tummy engaged, and then exhale, we're gliding back up, keeping that tailbone heavy. So breath there, keep scooped, and you'll lower down. Inhale, pause, and then exhale to glide back up. So I'm going to just do one more here to show you. Breath in to stay, and as you breathe out centre, we're lowering down. Inhale, pause, and then exhale to come back up from there. And I'm going to bend that leg in and lower, and we'll switch onto the other side, so keeping the pelvis square, float up that second leg, knee over the hip, arms on the floor, just let the shin dangle, other leg could slide away, you can keep it bent, breathing, scooping. I'll just do 3 stirs in each direction, and then we'll reverse. And then once you've done those, just raise up that shin so you can see your foot, point and flex from the ankle. I'm just doing 3, but you can certainly do more. And then we'll do your ankle circles, keep the rest of the leg still, reverse that direction of the circle. And then you can slide the other leg in and over the arch of your foot, and let's lengthen away just into your hamstring stretch. So keeping both sides of the waist long, tailbone heavy, trying to let that thigh sink into the hip socket. Just breathing through that stretch. If you flex the foot, you'll get your calf stretch as well. And then we'll do your lower and lift on this side. So just keeping that centre engaged. Without the band, you'll keep the range much smaller. So breath there, keep scoop, lowering that leg down only as far as you can maintain support through your centre. Inhale, pause, and then exhale to glide back up again. Keep that tailbone heavy. Breath there, keep scooped and lowering down. Inhale, stay. Keep that centre engaged. Exhale as you come up. And then last one here. So lowering on the exhale, pause on the inhale, coming back on the exhale. And I'm going to bend in from there, just adjust my socks, and keep hold of the band. We're going to use that in a second. And we're going to go into your spine curl. So some of you, you would do your bridge alternative just in one piece rather than rolling the spine up. So certainly for the knee osteoporosis. So we're going to come up, and as I'm coming up to my spine curl, some of you for bridge, you may not need too much head support. Possibly the feet might need to come a little closer to your bottom. So I'm going to grab the band in a moment, but I'm just going to do a normal spine curl first to remind you of that one. So standing evenly through both sides, breath and centre. We're going to go into that pelvic tilt and begin to peel the spine up rather, one vertebrae at a time. Breath at the top, and then as you breathe out, lengthening, peeling and releasing all the way back down. So the bridge version, instead of articulating, you breathe out centre, you're just going to float up in one piece. Inhale at the top, and then exhale, you're floating back down again. And then the option with the band is you have our unravelling line here, so it depends on your length of band. Same kind of hold you had for the ribcage closure. Band towards your thighs, almost like I'm rolling it up the legs again. Then as I breathe out centre, either peeling or lifting up in one piece, I'm going to wrap the band around the thighs, so the hands and arms hover in and face in towards each other. Breath at the top. And then as you breathe out, I'm going to lengthen and release back down again. So just by adding the band, adds a little bit more load. So I'm starting to work my triceps and open up the front of the shoulders and the chest, as well as adding a little bit more load to the glutes to open up the hips. Okay, we'll just do one more of those. So you can definitely do probably up to at least 8 of your spine curl variation. We'll just move the band to the side. And then another option to add on is that you knee fold, turn out, so it's like your glute and piriformis stretch position. Keep that pelvis square, and again you could either spine curl or bridge up, but breath and centre, you're going to lift up on that one leg. Inhale to stay, and exhale to float down. Breath and centre, floating up. Inhale to stay, and exhale to lower down. So up to 5 of those. I'm just doing a couple each side to remind you. So knee fold, turn out, breath and centre, float. Inhale to stay, exhale to lower, breath and centre, float, keep the pelvis level. Inhale to stay, and then exhale to lower. And then from there, we're going to come onto your curl up. So if you normally come to my Monday or Friday 10:30 class, please just skip out this part and carry on with the rest. Thank you. You could do some knee drops or something instead. Otherwise, if curl ups are okay for you, we're going to bring the hands behind your head. So head heavy in your hands and elbows in your peripheral vision. Lengthen the head and the neck, elbows and shoulders soft as we did in that seated position at the start. And we're going to inhale, chin tuck, and then exhale, gliding into your curl up. So keeping that length through the tailbone, breath there, keep scooped, and then gliding away. If your hips are a little tight and it's hard to stay neutral and avoid tilting, you could maybe just have your feet a little further away, or if it's okay for your back, you could fully lengthen those legs away. So you inhale, chin tuck, exhale, glide up, breath at the top, and as you breathe out, lengthening and releasing back down. So inhale, chin tuck, and then exhale, gliding up, breath at the top, and then as you breathe out, lengthening and releasing back down. If you wanted to, you could glide up and reach either one, both arms, one, both arms, come back again. And we carry on from there. So I'm going to just do a few oblique curls to remind you that you could keep the legs bent or extend them away as we did a moment ago. But you inhale, chin tuck, exhale, curl, breath there, and as you next breathe out, we're going to rotate over, back to the centre, and over to the other side. You could add that arm reach if you wanted to. And you could also do that version of the legs away. So you inhale, glide, rotate, reach, back, unravel. As you exhale, rotate, reach, back, and unravel from there. Okay, and then from there, I'm going to just grab my cushion back for a moment. I'm going to do a few toe taps, and then just go through a few variations for your single leg stretch. So we're keeping the head down initially, pelvis steady. So strong centre, I'm going to float one leg into single knee fold, breath and scoop other leg. Try and keep the same angle of the leg rather than bending and extending at the knee. Even if your toe doesn't touch down, keep this knitted down. So strong centre as you exhale, toe dipping down towards the mat. As light as you can. You could always, if curl ups are okay, you could do this with a curl up. And then I'm going to just go through the single leg stretch variations. For the initial versions, some of you might be more comfortable with the extra cushion. I'm going to just grab that there as well. Okay, so I'm going to just have the extra little cushion for now. So option one, for when you keep the head down, you still start in your double knee fold, so strong centre, one leg and then the other, and you could lightly have your hands around either side of one knee as you extend the other leg up in the air, quite high, and then you're changing over. So careful the leg doesn't go too low, because it's likely to pull on your back and pull you out of neutral. So that's option one. Option two is you do the same with a curl up, so the same leg movement but with a curl up, and the legs could go a little lower. And the final one is you're curled up without the hands behind your head, and the coordination pattern is slightly different, that you'd have the outer hand towards the ankle, other hand towards the knee, and then you switch. Okay, so the second option is you come into your curl up. Your legs could either be parallel or slightly turned out. And the final one is you're drawing one leg in, and then we're going to lower and release back down, one leg at a time. So now I've landed, I'm going to get rid of that extra cushion. We just settle back down, and if you need to do a couple of chin tucks or let your head roll side to side, please do. And the lying triceps work I mentioned we're going to do now, so if you have a weight, that's great, otherwise just a tin or a bottle of water would be fantastic. I'm going to just do about 4 each side. So you have one arm up in that shoulder drop position, and you're holding your weight. Just careful the wrist stays in neutral. Other hand can either support the upper arm, we have the fingertips behind, without either shoulder hunching up. So the first one is you inhale, bend the elbow, weight towards your shoulder, and then exhale as you extend. So inhale, bend, and exhale, extend. So slow and controlled with that movement. And then the next variation, same arm, you turn the hand away from you, still keep that good wrist alignment, and as you inhale, the weight comes towards the other elbow. Exhale, extend. So it's just like a hinge, not twisting at all with that movement. So I've just done that 4 each side, you could do up to 8. So I'm going to swap over, so shoulder drop position on the other side, either holding the upper arm or fingertips behind, keep that alignment through the wrist, and you inhale, bend, exhale, extend. So that's 4, slow and controlled. And I'm going to turn the arm and palm away, and then inhale, bend, exhale, extend. So still keeping an eye on that wrist alignment, and it's just a kind of hinge-like movement rather than any twisting going on. And you could, I've just done 4 of each of those. You could do up to 8 of each. If you need to do any circles afterwards, please do. And then we're going to do some hip rolls, so you can have the arms in that low V, arms and palms facing upwards. Option 1 is that you keep the legs and feet glued together, and as you breathe out centre, pelvis and legs go over one way, and then inhale, come back to the centre. So breath and centre, pelvis and legs over one way, neck and head to the other, inhale to come back again. So just keeping that length and keeping the shoulder blades connected to the mat. Option 2 is you could separate the legs so they're a little wider than hip width apart and slightly turned out, and you're going to add some knee rolls to that hip roll. So the legs and pelvis go one way, still the same with the upper body. Careful not to go too far that the ribs flare and you leave you let the shoulder blades lift away from the mat. Inhale back, and then exhale, over you go. Just do one more of those to each side. So they're having that lovely spiral through the spine. So So that's most of the class that we're doing in our relaxation position. I'm just going to pause for a moment and we'll carry on with the second part in a moment. Thank you.